13 in a row. Yes, it's a 13-game win streak now for your Minnesota Twins. They take game 2 in Milwaukee tonight, 7-0. The bats are cooking. Pablo had 6 shutout innings. Full deep dive coming up next on the Minnesota Twins postcast.
This is the Twins postcast, your instant game reaction for the Minnesota Twins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Minnesota Twins postcast episode right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network, your team every day. Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. Got my main man riding shotgun, Sweet Lou Hennesey. Give him a follow on X if you haven't already, at Sweet Lou MN. Twins expert over at Zone Coverage MN. Lou, just off the top here, 13-game win streak. Unbelievable. Having so much fun, obviously. This team hasn't lost now since May 2nd, which is just, mind-blowing. But they did this last year, though, too, right? Everybody remembers around the same point in the season. They rip off 12 in a row. When you watch them play right now, what's the biggest difference between last year's win streak and this year's win streak, just from your lens, and I guess by association too? Biggest difference between last year's team as a whole and the product they're putting on the field right now through these first 46 games?
Man, it just feels so weird to compare the two teams, especially, just with how hot things are flying right now and how terrible last year's team wound up being at the end of the season. Everything is just clicking for this team right now. And they're winning games in ways that it felt like they were losing games early in the year, where it's just like, they couldn't get anything to sync up. One day they would get, a bunch of hits, but then the pitching wasn't so great. And the next night, vice versa. Now we're seeing everything kind of clicking all at the same time. And we're seeing just what can happen. And it's thankfully it's a 13-game win streak so far.
Lots to get into. Game MVP, biggest turning point from tonight. But first, quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by Game Time. Game Time, download that Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. All right, so quick little recap from tonight. Again, Twins coming in, MLB best, 12-game win streak. Nobody's came close to that. Nobody's even been in double digits this year across the entire major league. Game 2 in Milwaukee for this always highly anticipated border battle, which is always fun. Pablo on the mound. Pablo's been rock solid Pablo, right? The past few starts, 6 shutout innings, throws a 2-hitter. And then offensively, you want consistency? Twins score a run in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth inning, 1 through 6, just showing off this kind of new team baseball you were just touching on, where it's not just one guy leading the charge, carrying the team, putting them on their back. It's everybody in the lineup, right? Contributing 1 through 9, kind of all playing their part. They tack on one more in the 9th to make it 7-0, and that's your final 13 in a row. They take game 2 over the Brew Crew, 26-20 now on the year. Biggest takeaways, topics, I guess. What stuck out the most from tonight's victory specifically?
Well, like you said, it's pretty rare to see a team score exactly 1 run in every single inning from the first through the 6th you said there.
6, yeah.
But it's just showing how this team can kind of manufacture, these scoring opportunities that maybe they weren't getting early on in the year. It's been really great for guys like Cody Clemens to come and step up. We got some rough news with Correa and with Buxton in their injuries, but I think it's just the next man up mentality, and they had it in full force today, where they scattered 18 hits across the game. I mean, that's as much of a team effort as you're going to get ever in any sort of MLB game. So very, very encouraging to see from the offensive end.
Yeah, Cody Clemens, man, just how good is he seeing that ball right now? You touched on the injuries. You touched on Correa and Buxton. Why don't you just go through rapid fire? Give us the quick update. I did ask Theo this yesterday, but maybe there's some new, reports. Buxton, Correa obviously had that brutal collision. Then Willie Castro finally comes back, takes that brutal foul ball right off his kneecap. Yeah. Any new updates, or what's the kind of ETA? What are we looking at with all 3 of these guys?
Yeah, too early to look at ETAs with Correa and Buxton. Correa seemed, it seemed like he got the worst end of that collision.
Which is weird because he was the one who braced. He was the one bracing for contact, too.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe a little bit of whiplash or something there is what got him. But he was pretty quick to go on the injured list for the concussion protocol there. Buxton was kind of on and off. It seemed like they were kind of waiting for some things things to clear, and they just didn't. So they put him on the injured list as well with those concussion symptoms. It sounds like Carson McCusker is going to be making an appearance and is going to be coming up to the big leagues to make his big league debut. Emphasis on big. This dude is like 6'8". He's a Hulk of a hitter. I think he's got 10 bombs in the minor leagues already this year, leading all of minor league baseball.
Wow.
He could be a big boost to this offense that's already clicking, as you can see. But
30 years old too, right? Making his MLB debut, I believe.
Yeah,
is that right?
I think he was undrafted. He played a little bit of indie ball, just kind of exploded on the scene, and he's been very exciting to watch.
College career.
And
Yeah,
for sure. So if he could come up and perform like he has been at AAA, I mean, that's a middle of the order bat right there. And we'll see what happens when guys start getting healthier and healthier. As far as Willie Castro, not exactly sure how to what extent this bruised kneecap is. Maybe it's just sore. I mean, it looked like you said it was pretty brutal. The fact that they're not throwing him right on the IL might be a good sign. Might also just be a sign of what other moves are we going to do, brother?
Right.
So,
right.
We'll see with Willie. Maybe he could have come in to get tonight if they would have needed him, but that remains to be seen.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
All right, 13-game win streak. I'm getting greedy here. All right, I want 2 tonight. I want your MVP tonight's game, and then I want your MVP of this entire 13-game winning streak. If I made you just pick one guy, who is and why?
Wow. Okay. So tonight, let's start with tonight. Got to go with the little rocket. Got to go with Cody Clemens. Good for him. 3 hits tonight, including that round tripper. He's really stepped up at this time. I think when they claimed him, they didn't anticipate him being somebody who would start, a lot of games per week necessarily. He might not have been long for this roster if everybody was going to be healthy, but he's making the most of his opportunity, and it all came out tonight. As far as the MVP, the second one you're giving me here, I might say Pablo. I mean, not just tonight, but just since he came off the injured list, since his first start, he's been absolute. He's been a stud in the bullpen, and he's been one of the best pitchers in the American League. And I think his rankings on most of the leaderboards, when it comes to ERA, when it comes to just the quality of his pitches, I think he is he's showing that he is a front of the line starter, and it's been that way since he came off the injured list a month ago.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
All right, ignore the turning point. Let's do what we'll be talking about, actually, because there really was no turning point, I feel like, in this one, right? Let's do what we'll be talking about. What's a 13-game win streak, right? Second longest streak since 91. We all know what happened in 91. What's the water cooler talk at work right now when the Minnesota Twins gets brought up into the conversation? What's people chatting about or texting about in the Twins group chats right now as they ride this 13-game win streak and really go from the bottom of the dump, right?
Yeah.
In the AL, in the Central, to looking like an actual very competitive team again.
I'm just thinking the Baltimore Orioles announced today that they dismissed their manager, Brandon Hyde, after their terrible start to the season that they've had. 2 weeks ago, the Twins were in a pretty similar spot with the Orioles. And if they hadn't have turned things around, I'm not saying that Rocco would have been out of there for sure. But this is, as we are starting to see around the league, this is the time of the year when things aren't pointed in the right direction.
It might have been a hot seat. I don't think that's a hot take, to be honest.
It very well might have been.
It would have been pretty warm for sure. Yeah.
But gosh, I think what people are talking about right now, with last year's team, I thought the overall narrative of the season was some of the younger guys failing to take the reins when the veteran players got hurt. They just weren't quite ready to step up to the plate in August and September of last year. I think the water cooler talk right now is going to be the injuries to the stars that we're seeing in Byron Buxton and Carlos Correa, and whether some of these younger players can actually do that this time around, including some newer faces like Carson McCusker, maybe a new look Zebby Matthews coming up. He got his taste. He got a cup of coffee last year. I think he started 8 or 9 games, and it didn't go very well for Zebby, but hopefully this is a new him, and we'll see what starts tomorrow.
Plenty more deep dive nerdy stat of the day over this 13-game win streak. That should be a good one. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by FanDuel. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner, the MLB. Right now, FanDuel is giving you a chance at a huge return, $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. And why I love FanDuel, when you get the hunch in the middle of the game, you can go check out the latest stats. You can view live play-by-play and so much more, all on the same page where you're placing your bets. Again, $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. Go check it all out over at FanDuel.com. Again, check it all out over at FanDuel.com and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 bet. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the MLB. All right, nerdy stat of the daytime. Any crazy stat or fun analytic Twins related? Could be about tonight's game. Could be about this 13-game win streak. We'll take anything. What do you got? Lay it on us.
Man, I'm just thinking about exactly 2 weeks ago, the Friday night game in Boston, the last game that the Twins lost. Yep. I was sitting with our good friend Theo Tollefson. We were sitting over a couple burgers from the Nook, and we were watching this team lose its 4th consecutive game and thinking, man, it's still early, but I'm not sure this team got the juice this year. Since that time, Twins pitchers have an ERA combined, the whole pitching staff, of 2.23, and that's the best in baseball. That goes even a step further with the relief pitchers and how clutch they've been, because when they've had guys in runners in scoring position, I should say, they have been absolutely incredible with a 0.093 batting average against.
Wow, so 0.093 batting average.
0.93 against relievers with guys in scoring position. They've been able to lock in and absolutely get the job done. And we saw it again tonight with Justin Topa coming out of a bases loaded jam.
Let me ask you this, just off that topic. Again, Pablo on the mound tonight, 6 shutout innings, throws a 2-hitter, 6 Ks, 2 walks, 95 pitches. Again, to your point, pitching staff been unbelievable. Back-to-back-to-back shutouts, by the way. Who's on this roster right now? Clayton Kershaw and Justin Verlander in their prime? What's going on?
Yeah,
over this 13-game win streak, who's really been the anchor in the starters and then in the bullpen group during this, again, just kind of unreal streak, and then maybe 60 seconds, a quick 60 on Pablo and his night tonight?
I mean, really, the only guy who struggled during this streak, and if you could even say struggled, would probably be Simeon Wood Richardson, who got optioned the other day. So, first of all, he's 24 years old. He's going to be making starts for the Twins down the line here for sure. So this is a chance for him to go down to the minors and reset and play the hot hand in Zebby Matthews. But as far as anchors in this rotation goes, you could make an argument for any of the other 4 guys that since that last week, they've all been ERAs in the mid-2s and with incredible strikeout numbers for the most part. If I had to pick somebody, I'm going to go with Joe Ryan. I'm going to go with Bailey Ober, even through their illnesses. Mm-hmm. They have been absolute studs, and I don't want to take anything away from Pablo or Chris Paddock, because those two have been excellent as well. In the back end of the bullpen, my guy Joan Duran has been absolutely incredible as the closer for the most part. Griffin Jacks has turned things around, and Sweet Lou Varland has turned into an elite late inning weapon. So things are really clicking right now. Things are feeling very good.
Yeah, not just a top-heavy group with Duran at the top, right, coming out of the pen. It's a deep group right now with a lot of different toys and options for Rocco at the helm. Don't go anywhere. Quick preview, Game 3 in Milwaukee tomorrow, looking for their 4th sweep in a row. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode also brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, now with more than 10 million members to date. And for me and my money, it's just by far the easiest, and it's the most exciting way to get in on all the action while you watch your favorite sports and you watch your favorite players. All you got to do, you pick more or less on 2 or more players' stats, and you watch the winnings roll in. Could be strikeouts, RBIs, home runs, stolen bases, you name it, they got it. Take your pick on more or less. Add them to your Prize Picks entry today. Plus, they now offer Apple Pay, quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Download the Prize Picks app. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 instantly with any $5 wager. All right, real quick here. Game 3 tomorrow. Twins looking for their 4th straight sweep. Welcome back, Zebby Matthews, to the big show. Quick preview, just big picture. Give me one thing you're paying attention to, I guess, the most in this one. And I don't know, where should we kind of set our expectations for Zebby Matthews in his first game up since last season? How about the pressure Zebby's probably feeling, right? 13 games in a row. You got to come in now, make your first start, and not blow this thing, not snap the streak, right? Poor Zebby.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. Zebby has this incredible like golden retriever energy about him, especially in post-game interviews and stuff. He's very talkative. He's very excited. He just seems like somebody who loves his opportunity and loves his chance to play the game here. So I'm really excited for him, and I'm going to put my expectations up there because his stuff has looked incredible in AAA. Granted, different competition,
sure,
but still just the properties of his pitches, the sheer velocity of his fastball and some of his other offerings, things are going to be flying out of that guy's hands. So I am looking at Zebby Matthews, and I'm looking at his rookie counterpart in Carson McCusker coming up, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a big fly from the big man himself. My podcast partner Greg Masterson on the Twins Off Daily podcast loves to say that he likes big dudes who ding dongs, and that is exactly what Carson McCusker is going to do. So get ready for that. Keep your eye on the young guys tomorrow.
Bro, put that on a bumper sticker ASAP, man. Love that. And love the energy the Minnesota Twins are playing with right now. 13 straight. Final score tonight, 7-0. Back-to-back shutouts. 26-20 now on the year. 26-20. Like, what? Like, all of a sudden, you don't pay attention for a couple of weeks. You know, they're bottom of the barrel. They're like 13-20. Boom. 26-20 now. Absolutely love it. Huge shout out to all the everydayers, all you guys that always make us your first listen. All you guys coming in the chat with us from game to game. Much love. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go check out all of Lou's work on X at Sweet Lou MN, plus all the work he always rips up over at ZoneCoverageMN.com as well. Luke Inman on X at Luke_Spinman. Again, game 3 tomorrow. Zebby making that MLB debut first time this year. 1:10 first pitch. We'll catch you right here. Same time, same place. But until then, signing out.